Okay, hello participants, and welcome to our session on virtual classroom. I'm just going to go through a few things about what you're seeing on your page right now, and then we'll get into creating a meeting. What I'm going to do right away is just check with everyone if you can hear me, and we're going to start with the public chat. Now, the first thing is you may see some bubbles popped up on your screen that are informational bubbles. If you want to get rid of those, you can just simply click on your screen anywhere away from the bubbles and they will disappear. And I'm going to show you how to get those back after. On the far left of your screen, you're going to see a little icon that looks like a head. It's a circle and a half circle. If you click on that, you're going to notice that you're going to open the list of participants in the session. And beside that, there's a bubble for a speech bubble for the public chat. So if you go ahead and click on that, this is going to enable you to communicate with me by message. If everyone in there would mind just putting in a little chat to say, yes, I can hear you clearly. And hi, Natasha. Great. Okay, so I've got one more person. Jessica, are you able to hear me? Perfect. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So you've just had your first experience with the public chat and how that feature works. So it's a great way of nonverbal communication. And we have someone watching the public chat. So if you have questions throughout the session, you're more than welcome to type them in the chat. And then at the end of the session, we will address all of those questions. And that's how we're going to compile an FAQ for future sessions and also for people to reference for information. In order to close your public chat, you're just going to click on the words public chat at the top of your screen, and that's going to minimize that public chat. And if you want to get rid of the participant list, you can also click on the little head on the side, on the left-hand side of your screen in the top corner, and it's going to make the participants list disappear. But before you do that, you're going to notice in the list, we have a few people listed as presenter. When you go in, those that have presenter options are going to have presenter listed beneath them, and the others are going to be students in the class participants. So we're going to go across the screen on the top from starting from the left. We've covered participants and the chat. The next icon over that you're going to see on your screen is a little tiny webcam, and that's for webcam sharing. If you want to have a little more personalized experience with your participants in your class, you can share your webcam so they can see you, you can see them. If there's some actions within the presentation that they're doing that you need to have a visual. If you actually are on a laptop and you're willing to share, you can click on that little webcam. And of course, in order to do this, you're going to need to click on the bottom of your screen in the middle where it says Share Webcam. Now, the first time that you do this, you may get prompted with a message saying to grant you permission. So, of course, here I am. I'm sharing my webcam. We've got a few people popping up into the video screen here. So this gives you a way to connect with them with the webcam. And of course, if you click on the toggle expand next to your share videos, then it will go full screen and you can see all your participants. Okay, is everyone everyone's good so far seeing the webcam? I'm going to exit the webcam now. So I'm just going to click in the bottom of my screen in the middle where it says exit webcam, and I'm going to close out my share video. So that's how you can have a face-to-face interaction within the session. In the middle on the top of the screen, you can see the name of my virtual classroom session. It's called Virtual Classroom Session. And beside that, you're going to see recording. Now, right now, it's going to be checked off and it's going to say recording. And that's because we are recording this session for future reference. You have the opportunity when you create your initial meeting to choose to automatically record, or you can leave that off if you feel like you only want to record parts of the session. Maybe you don't want the list of names and the participants in your session that you're going to use for later for future reference. You can do it from within the session too. So if I uncheck the recording button, it's going to stop recording from this point, and then I can check it later on if I'm going to do a demonstration. If you forget to do it when you're creating your classroom session, you have another option here, and that's a toggle button. I'm going to leave that recording so that, like I said, later on we can post the recorded session. And of course, I'm going to show you where to go and find that session after the fact. So the next button over to your right-hand side is what hopefully looks like a little green circle at this point. This is actually your connection speed. If you go ahead and click on it, you have a green dot means you're up to 8 megabits per second, and it's a good connection, and all the features are going to function as expected. If you see a yellow triangle, you've got 1 to 8 megabits per second, and it's not a great connection. And some features like the audio will work, but the video or the desktop share could encounter problems. So just to be aware of that, if you see a red hexagon, that's 1 megabit per second, and you've got a bad connection. And the audio might work, but video features probably will not be reliable. And if you have a gray diamond showing up there, there's no internet connection detected by the system. Beside that little indicator of your connection speed, you've got a question mark and with a little circle. And if you click on that, what that's going to do is it's going to enable those help bubbles that you saw when you first entered the screen for the first time. They give you an offering of an explanation of the different features. And it's a toggle button. So if you click, they're going to disappear again. And next to that, we have 3 little dots. And this is your settings button. When I'm in presenter mode, I'm going to be able to share my desktop. So I can open the settings from in presenter mode, and I'm going to show you this in a minute on my screen. And I can change my settings to reflect what participants are going to have access to. So if I don't want them to be able to use their microphone, or I don't want them to be able to share the webcam, I can go in here and I can lock that down or leave it completely open depending on the meeting type that I'm going to have. Now, when you're in as a participant and you go in here to your settings, the option you're going to have is for closed captioning. So participants can go into their open settings, select the closed caption, and you can go ahead and do this if you like. And on the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see the closed caption button. And what that does is when the video recording is done, it will provide you with some closed captioning, which is a nice accessibility feature. Along the bottom of your screen, I see as a presenter a few more buttons than you do. I see a mute button, a leave audio, a share webcam, and a status. Features available to a presenter are share webcam, share desktop, disable drawing, enable drawing, and that brings up some drawing features and status. So for those of you in participant mode, at the bottom of the screen on the right-hand side, so at the bottom of the screen on the right-hand side, you're going to see a little status button. It should look like a hand raised. So this is a good way to indicate in the chat feature, you'll notice what the status is of your participants. So what I want everybody to do right now so that I can make sure you're still paying attention is click on the status button and change your status and tell me how you're feeling right now. So we're just going to give that a minute so I can see how everyone's feeling. Again, click on the right bottom corner on the status and select how you're feeling right now. Awesome. We've got some hands up, some clapping, some happy faces. Fantastic. So if at any point you want to change your status back, you could just select the hand again and you can clear your status. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So at this point, I'm going to show you one of the really nice features of Virtual Classroom, and that is the ability to share desktop. I'm going to go ahead and click my Share Desktop button, which as a participant, you're not going to see, and I'm going to share my screen. Now, at first, you are going to see a bit of a funky little picture-in-picture as we go through the session, but then you should be able to see my Google slideshow that I have open and is also available for you in the virtual learning lounge after the session is over. This presentation goes through all of the components that we've covered so far and will be saved for you. When I do my desktop share, the first time I go into to do a desktop share, you may be prompted for a Chrome extension to be installed. Okay, so you just simply click the, do you want to install it? Yes. You may have to refresh your screen and then you should be good to go. When you desktop share, I can share my application window or my entire screen. I'm going to go back to my virtual session. I wanted to talk a bit about those settings that you don't see unless you're in presenter mode. So when I go into my open settings, these are the options I have as a presenter. I can also do the closed captions, and I can choose what the participants can and cannot do within this virtual classroom session. So I can lock the webcam, I can lock the microphone, and I can choose to lock the public chat and the private chat out. Okay, so and just for reference, when you're leaving a session, make sure to prompt your students to log out of this session before they leave. Okay, so now we're going to cover creating a virtual classroom session, which I'm going to do from within my session. So I'm going to go into my virtual learning lounge, and I'm going to create a meeting from within my meeting to show you. So I'm going to go to my learning tools, and I'm going to go and select the virtual classroom. So you can see that right now I do have an active meeting going on, but I'm going to create another meeting. So this is the prompt that you get for information. I'm going to call this my test meeting. And I have the option to select a future date and time for this meeting if I wanted. And if I click the date button, it's going to bring up a date calendar so that I can select a future date. So I'm going to create a meeting for tomorrow, and I'm going to say okay. And then I'm going to choose a time. Maybe I'll do the 2 o'clock, and then I'm going to go over here to the minutes, and I'm going to say it's 2:30. And of course, I'm going to make sure that it's 2:30 p.m. because no one wants to be in the meeting at 2:30 a.m. I could have the option to click now, and that would generate a meeting that would open automatically right away. So you've got a duration of from 15 to 90 minutes for your meeting. I'm going to choose 75 minutes. And this is the button I spoke about earlier about the start recording automatically. If you choose this, the moment you open the meeting, it's going to start recording. If you select this, that's what's going to happen. Again, you can choose to record it from within the session after the fact if you forget to do so. If I want to produce an automatic link to the recording after the fact, it will generate a link for the recording when it's created. And if I want to allow external participants, which I did for this meeting, I sent out a virtual classroom session link. It allows me to send it out without participants having to log directly into the VLE. So if you're doing a session at home or with external participants, you can just create an external participant link. And I can choose whether I want this meeting to recur. Perhaps if I want to run this weekly or every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, and it will automatically generate those meeting sessions for you. And then I'm going to go ahead and click the save button. And then you'll notice my test meeting has been created. It has a date and a time to it. And when I create the meeting, I can either copy the external link and send that and post it, or I can post it within my content or within my activity feed. So now what I want to do is add my meeting to my course content. So I'm going to go to my course content icon, and I'm going to go into my content. So I'm going to click the Add button on my course content, and I'm going to choose Virtual Classroom. And from the list, I'm going to see the meetings that I've created that are available to post. So of course I have the virtual classroom session that we're currently in, as well as my test meeting that I created. So there's my test meeting. And you can see at the bottom, this meeting starts in 1 day and 41 minutes. So no one can enter the meeting room until the start time of the session. So that's adding it to your course content. I can also go ahead and add it to my activity feed, but I wanted to mention something to you here. You'll notice that now my calendar has been automatically updated with a meeting event on the calendar. So for May 31st, tomorrow at 3:30 p.m., there's going to be a test meeting. So if I also wanted to include this on my activity feed, I could post it right on the main page and say, we are having a meeting tomorrow. And I'm going to uncheck my comments, and I'm going to attach a link to an existing activity. It's the little folder icon underneath. And I'm going to scroll down through my options to virtual classroom. And again, I should see a list of all the meetings available for me to create a link to. I have today's session listed there as well as tomorrow's test meeting. So if I click on the test meeting, it's going to appear in my list. And I can also post the resources that relate to this session like I did with today's. And I can choose to post it now, or I can choose to post it later. Maybe I want to post it just when the meeting starts. So I'm just going to go ahead and post that so you can see it on the activity feed. Okay, so back to our virtual classroom. Let's talk about after the session has been recorded. I have my virtual learning lounge open where I've created my session from within, and I'm going to go down to my virtual classroom session. Okay, so in my list of meetings right now, I have the 2 meetings that I've created, and it says recorded meetings, no recorded meetings yet. So after this meeting is recorded, there will be a link down here at the bottom, and this is where you would find your recorded meetings. Okay. And beside the title, you can click the 3 dots on the right when any meetings are recorded. But it does take time, as with any video rendering software. It could take up to 4 hours for the video to be available to you after the meeting. It depends on how long the meeting has taken. And like I said, I would give it a good 4 hours before you expect to see anything there. So I'm just going to go back to my slideshow here so we can show you what that actually looks like when you're going through your recordings. So in the slideshow, if we look here, this is a screenshot after meetings have been recorded so you can see what it looks like. It'll have a list of the recorded meetings. It'll have dates and times, the status, and then there's a little action button. And in that action button, you can preview, you can copy the public URL. Whoops. And you can delete this recording if you wish to. Now, I'm going to show you how to get to the self-registration page to register for the Virtual Learning Lounge. This is where we've set up all of these sessions that we're going to be hosting. So the content will be posted here. Upcoming events will be listed in the calendar, and any of the recordings that we do from these sessions will be posted on the main page as well. Okay, so to register for the Virtual Learning Lounge from within the VLE, go to your educator homepage. You should be enrolled in the educator homepage. If you click your home button and you're not directed to this page, then you can email our vle.support@ocdsb.ca and let us know that you're not currently registered in the educator homepage, and we can take care of that for you. So from here, if you click on the self-registration, we put it right up on the home screen here to make it easy for you. There's the new virtual learning lounge. And if I click on that link, it's going to take me right to the registration form for that. And I just simply click register, and I'm enrolled in the virtual learning lounge. So at this point, I'm going to go back to my home screen, and I'm going to exit my desktop sharing. And we're going to take a look at the chat and see if there's any questions here that anyone has before we end our session. Okay. So I see a few with connection issues. Does anyone else experience a frozen screen? Natasha, did you get sorted out? I hope you did. Okay. Oh, I see a few extra names. Okay, so one last feature that I wanted to show you before I let you go is, as presenter, there is one other feature that that you can use in your classroom to gather information on understanding of the content. I'm going to click on my actions button, which is in the left-hand corner of my screen, and I'm going to initiate a poll. So what I want to do now is I want to ask everyone, if you enjoyed today's session and you feel that you got something out and would be interested in using Virtual Classroom in the future. So what you can't see right now is I can actually see in live time the results of this poll as it's going in. And then once we have enough people who have completed the poll, I'm going to publish this so that you can all see it on your screen. Okay, so one more minute. If you feel that you think Virtual Classroom would be an interesting tool to use in your classroom and would be very helpful for different uses, then go ahead and click the yes. And if you think, no, this isn't for me, click the no. And it is anonymous, by the way. I don't see who put what answer in. So I'm going to go ahead and click the publish button, and you should see in the bottom of your screen the results of this poll. So 7 participants said yes, that they thought Virtual Classroom was going to be a helpful tool for future use. So I'm just going to go check our chat and make sure we don't have any other questions that we can go ahead and answer today. Is the activity feed an extra widget we add to our course homepage, Jim? And the answer is yes, you can add the activity feed to your homepage. Okay, and Natasha has answered as well. The activity feed is similar to the news feed, but it is different in that it gives you some features allowing you to post your content, links, embed videos, embed content, and it attaches to both your calendar and your Dropbox. So Jim, if you want help adding that and you're interested in adding the activity feed, you can just email vle.support@ocdsb, and we'd be happy at .ca, sorry. I'll be happy to help you with that. Okay, any other questions? I don't see any other questions. And again, we'll be posting an FAQ on the Virtual Learning Lounge in the near future with questions and answers to those. And so if you want to go ahead and enroll in the class, then you'll get all these great resources after the fact. And we're hoping to offer some more of these sessions. We're looking to possibly offer a session next week on the video note tool. So stay tuned. And thank you very much for attending. Again, remember before you leave to log out using the 3 dots in the very right top corner of your screen and choose log out.